Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. We are so excited to kick off our first discussion for chapter 1 of this amazing book, Extraordinary You, that was written by Jacqueline Ortiz. So we are starting off with our chapter 1, and it is a little bit about this book. And a little bit about Jacqueline Ortiz. So, Extraordinary You is a brilliant book, and the author was a very dear friend of mine. And I can tell you, I'm going to share because it's Memorial Day and here in the United States. And I know traditionally we've talked about veterans, but Jacqueline was a veteran in her own right. She stood for love in this world like no other person that I had the opportunity to work side by side along with. She was a dear friend of mine, and I wanted to honor her today by launching chapter 1, our discussion of this amazing book. So the way that this all happened was Jacqueline and I were in a leadership class back in 2018 together and had become very good friends. And I went to visit her in 2023 and actually 2022. And I picked up this book. It was the 2008 first edition. And I'm like, Jacqueline, this is brilliant. This is the book that I've always wanted to write. I said, what are you going to do with it? And she's like, But she's like, I always thought that I really wanted to, she's like, I look at her vision board and her vision board said, become a best-selling author. And so I, along with Jacqueline, in February of 2023, we launched her bestseller campaign and we relaunched Extraordinary You. And we got it to be bestseller on Amazon in 9 different categories. It was so exciting. And it was one of my favorite moments with Jacqueline. And to remember back to that moment, just feeling her excitement was so amazing. And I know there's books inside of me to write, but truly, when I picked up this book, I said, Jacqueline, everything that I've wanted to put in a book is in this book. This is an amazing book. And so it is my honor to go through this book with you. We're going to go chapter by chapter. And you're going to hear through Jacqueline's words the importance of going through each one of the extraordinary sizes. So she has exercises laid out within this book to help you transform your life. And so I vowed that I would not read the next chapter until I finished each one of the extraordinary sizes. And so I hope that you're willing and committed to go through this with me and join me on this journey. And it's a journey of remembering your true you, reconnecting, and rediscovering your authentic self. So without further ado, I'm going to dive on in here. And I want to thank Jacqueline's family. I had the pleasure of visiting with her sister, Giovanna. So you can purchase this book on either Amazon, on Kindle or Audible, or the paperback version. And her sister, Giovanna, did such a beautiful job of reading for Audible. So if you get that version, I know that you'll greatly enjoy it. And this book truly is life-changing. So let's go ahead and get started. So she calls part 1 the phase of discovery. So on chapter 1, we are embarking on our journey, and it's the point of no return. So what she calls is the point of no return is, so if you want to read along with me, I actually recorded chapter 1 all by itself. So you can go ahead and look for the other video that just says Extraordinary You Chapter 1, and the full reading is there. This is more of the discussion that we're implementing so that you can go chapter by chapter to just get some other ideas, to see what else is coming through and see how we can go through these extraordinary sizes together. And so the point of no return. So my background is that my name is Jacqueline Bamanek, and my business is Vibrational Energy Solutions. And I started the Extraordinary You book club so that we can go through different titles that will help you to uncover and create transformation in your life. So as we do that, my background as a transformational life coach, I'm also a spiritual life coach, and a recovery mentor, a resilience mentor, a spiritual mentor. Um, so you're going to get my different outlooks on each of these chapters as well. So this is a beautiful free resource for you if you're going through troubling times, if you're going through, just this rediscovery phase of who you are. You found yourself in a really powerful place. I can guarantee, and I'm so excited that you're here. So the point of no return, when we talk about this, say in the recovery world, it's more about hitting that rock bottom point. It's like the recovery of you. And it's an amazing point in your life when you get there, because some people will call it the dark night of the soul. It's when you reach that very low point in your life where you feel like you can't go any lower, and you know that something has got to give. And that something is you. It's you that needs to wake up and have some awareness about things that you get to shift, actions you get to take. And so this book is filled with beautiful revelations that will truly help guide you. So use this as your powerful guide. Okay. So the point of no return is when that feeling is too uncomfortable to ignore. And Jacqueline says, welcome it. This is the empowering leverage that you need in order to transform your life. So it's that urging, it's the prompting from within you that there's more. And so as we continue to discover about the point of no return, she says, the inkling of restlessness was dissatisfaction with her career and herself. And so how many of you have ever felt that dissatisfaction of something that just doesn't feel right in your life? It could be your career. It could be your relationship, of just knowing that something is off. Something doesn't feel aligned, and something has to change. So the restless sensation and the craving for something more will always reside within you, gnawing away at your inner peace, your present moment, your authentic joy, until you address it and give it a voice. Allow it to flourish. Then and only then will you bask in the loving glory of being in the universal flow of pure, undaunted bliss and joy. So that is your invitation as we move into Extraordinary Size 1. So in Extraordinary Size 1, Jacqueline says, before you can get to where you want to go, you first have to evaluate where you are now. So where are you right now? Describe what your life looks like and feels like. At what point in your life do you find yourself right now? Are you satisfied with your inner self? Are you excited about the life you are living and where you are headed? Have you hit the point of no return? You probably have, otherwise you wouldn't be reading this book. If you are not yet ready to admit that you have hit the point of no return, for the next few minutes, just pretend that you have. How would you recognize it? What would the point of no return feel like for you? Who would you need to evolve into to become an extraordinary human becoming? Human becoming implies someone who is evolving and open to undergoing growth and personal development, while the term human being is more suggestive of having already been formed and developed, and therefore being more dormant and set in one's ways. So, as you feel into the questions here, if you feel into how did you become who you are today? What choices were made for you instead of choices that you truly made on your own? So, a human becoming, I love that reference, don't you? Because we're in a constant state of evolving. And in order to evolve, we have to have that open framework, that open mind that invites us to say, I'm curious. I want to know what else is possible. And so I'm going to share a quote with you. And this quote came from an organization that I volunteered for. And it was a river rafting trip for an organization that makes everything accessible. It makes outdoor adventure accessible for people of all abilities. And on the back of these shirts, I remember it said, "The only disability is a mind stuck in a closed position." So, are you ready to open your mind? Are you allowing yourself to open to new possibilities for your life? Because it doesn't have to be set in stone. So here we go. Okay, so I want to hit this one more time. What would the point of no return feel like for you? Are you there right now? If not, what would it look like and feel like? What has to happen in your life to get you to the point of no return? Because in some cases, it could be life altering and life shattering. And if you can feel into it with your imagination right now, you don't actually have to go there. You can actually sense the trajectory that your life is on, and you can actually make a choice right now to say, you know what? I can choose right now to know that that point of no return is not anywhere that I want to be, or the point where I'm at right now is the lowest point in my life, and I don't want to be here anymore. And you can make the conscious choice to shift your life powerfully now. So then Jacqueline takes us into fight or flight. An extraordinary person doesn't cravenly take flight or foolishly fight the tides of fate. Rather, he steadfastly holds his heartfelt desires to the light, confident in his manifesting ability. So we each have within us the ability to create our life. And we have an energetic frequency that we're holding. And that frequency has the power to create amazing miracles in your life. It also has the possibility, depending on what frequency you're at, it can be not such good things that you're manifesting. But if you're staying aligned and true with the light and true with your heart, you are on track to creating your extraordinary you. And that's what she tells us within the pages of this amazing book. By crossing the point of no return and admitting dissatisfaction with your life, you've taken a risk. You've opened Pandora's box, and with it comes a rush of apprehension and uncertainty. You may feel vulnerable and confused. These feelings cause great discomfort. Humans typically will do more to avoid suffering, pain, and discomfort than they will do to get satisfaction, gratification, joy, and pleasure. Think about it. You may want to lose weight, but diets, exercise, or being deprived of your favorite foods seems like too high of a price to pay. You want to lose weight, you really want to, but the immediate pain of not eating dessert is more painful than the pleasure of losing weight in the distant future. So you indulge. So what she's sharing here is that the pain of knowing what is comfortable for us is often tolerable because we already know that pain so vividly that we know that we'll survive it. So we'll risk staying in fight or flight mode to not move forward, to not push past our resistance. And that resistance and uncertainty, it's letting you know you're on track. It's actually really helpful. So rather than it being something that's going to hold you back, see it as it's allowing you to find your edge of where you're moving past. You're just stretching beyond that comfort zone. And as you push beyond that comfort zone, you're going to feel this resistance before you actually rocket through it. And so trust yourself and keep going. So fight or flight is a survival mechanism. And that survival mechanism was there to keep you safe when you were a young child. And as a young child, you had to do that because the people that you loved the most made you conform to stay safe, to feel loved, to feel like you mattered, to not make waves, to not rock the boat, to not end up with an explosion, of feeling fear, of feeling rejected, of feeling that you were less than worthy of the joy that you truly have as your birthright. So as we move forward into this fight or flight, Jacqueline says, when you postpone your life purpose out of fear, what you are really doing is dismissing and sacrificing your soul. This is where fight or flight comes in. You can attempt to fight it by avoiding or postponing your subconscious urge for something more, by engaging in a battle of wills between your conscious and your subconscious. You go about this by becoming totally resolute about suppressing and denying your desires and urges and continuing your current path. You dive in harder and faster to prove to yourself and everyone that you are satisfied with your current life path. You become more determined about or obsessed with achieving, acquiring, winning. The more you strive to prove to yourself and others that you are on a right path, that you don't need to alter your life based on some whimsical desire, the further off course that you will go. Suppressing won't make your urges disappear because what you resist will persist. So, can you relate to this at all? I know Jacqueline has been hitting some key points here as I read chapter 1 and I go through the extraordinary sizes. So it reminds me of the cartoon when we were young children. I don't know if you remember this, or maybe you're too young to know this one. But there was a devil on one shoulder and an angel on the other. So think of the devil as the subconscious. Those are the patterns that we were programmed to believe, the limiting beliefs that we picked up from our family, from our upbringing, from society. And it said you have to be this way to fit in, to behave, to belong. And then on this side, you have that little voice inside you, your conscious, your choice. And it's reminding you of who you are. And it's telling you, it's guiding you. But so often this voice is so loud that it overpowers this one. It overpowers your conscious choice because you're just in default mode. They call that the default mode network in your brain. And your conscious is there to guide you. Let your heart be your conscious. So we're not going to let fear take us over. And I know in my life, I have let fear take over. I have let fear keep me from fulfilling my mission and my vision and my purpose for my life and my soul. And that's one reason why I'm here reading this book with you today. Because I put off the relaunch of my business that I've been working on for quite a long time. But I'm here now with you because we have an angel in our court. And that angel is with us tonight. And she's with us, guiding us home. And I'm so honored to be here with you because we're here doing this together. And if you feel a sense of belonging right here with us, then welcome. Welcome. Welcome home. So as we go further into the chapter 1 here, she says, you resort to the path of least resistance. After all, it's far easier to avoid the immediate pain than to pursue the tentative possibility of future pleasure. When you take the path of least resistance, there's a high price to pay. You miss out on a true joy in life. As the saying goes, what you ignore will grow. For example, if you ignore a disease like cancer, it will grow and it will spread. You must eradicate it at the root. Ignoring it and denying it won't make it go away. It'll keep growing and coming back until you get to the root of it. Just like your emotions, just like your beliefs, your patterns, all of those, we have to get underneath them at the root. And that's the exciting thing that the extraordinary sizes are bringing us, is they're allowing us to get to the root of everything that you've thought was you, that you took on as you, that you built throughout your lifetime as you. And as you start to deconstruct where these beliefs came from, you start to see that there's so much that you thought was you that really wasn't. And it's probably why you're not happy. It's probably why you feel alone. It's probably why you are afraid. So we get to take off all of those old beliefs and go through these extraordinary sizes to really uncover the gifts, the talents, and abilities of who you truly are. And that's exciting. And I'm so happy that you're here with me. So then if you go back and you listen to the whole chapter reading, we'll go through and listen to Jacqueline's portrayal of how this happened in her life. And I'm going to read just a couple paragraphs here. It says, depending on your personal experiences, your circumstances, and your personality, your initial reaction may be to either flight or fight, but don't succumb to either one. Rather, be conscious that either reaction is like putting masking tape on a problem. It's just like patching things up until they come undone at the seams. Whether you consciously or subconsciously choose to fight or run, you're only postponing the inevitable. Avoidance doesn't just delay the inevitable pain, it also postpones your inner peace, your joy, your bliss. You must take a leap of faith, trust yourself, follow your heartfelt desire, surrender to the silent whispers and inner urges of your authentic self, which is awakening the desire within you to follow your heart, to step outside of your comfort zone and to live your life to the fullest. Listen to your heart. Your authentic self knows what it needs in order to feel whole. Even if you aren't yet sure what that is, don't despair. You will know. Just read on and complete the extraordinary sizes, and your authentic self will reveal them to you. When I talked with Jacqueline about her writing this book, she told me it was like a download. She said there's aspects of this book she didn't even remember writing. That's how brilliant this book is. It was like a download from her soul of something that she knew she needed to bring forth into the world. It truly is a gift. And I wonder what's waiting inside of you when you open to what is coming through you of your gifts, talents, and abilities. She says, we all come to this universe with free will and special skills, talents, and interests that influence the life purpose we choose. But while we may have the freedom to discover, learn, and fulfill our life purpose or not, avoiding the lessons is next to impossible. Whether by choice or by coincidence, we attract lessons our soul needs in order to evolve and grow. Our life lessons will be presented to us over and over again under different circumstances with different characters until we learn the lessons or literally die trying. So that brings us to extraordinary size number 2. It is your life. Are you going to fight or take flight? If so, what will it cost you emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually 3, 6, 9, or 18 years from now? How will settling for this life make you feel? Feel into that. So, do you have an unconscious pattern where you fight, you defend and attack? Or do you have a pattern where you take flight? Do you run away when the going gets tough? When you feel conflict? When you feel not safe? Sometimes those feelings of not safe, that fight or flight is there for survival so that we can protect ourselves. But a lot of times it's just based on old beliefs and fears that really keeps us from shining our light and speaking our truth. So, are you going to take flight or are you going to fight? What is the cost emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually 3, 6, 9, and 18 years from now? If you continue in those old patterns, those are ego survival patterns. How will settling for this life make you feel? So that is a really good question. And I know in my life, I've been a runner. I've ran away when there's conflict. And thankfully, I've been through enough self-development over the last 20 years where a lot of that has totally stopped. And yet there's still a few lingering areas where I am still growing. And I believe I, as well as everyone in this world, will always be a work in progress. I don't think perfection is something that truly exists. I believe if you see someone that's perfect, they're putting on a pretty good facade. And I know as I work through each one of these extraordinary sizes, I journaled, and I also did breathwork sessions to help me to release the stuff that I had stuffed down another layer deeper and another layer deeper and another layer deeper, to start unwinding more and more of these patterns that I know it truly is time to transform. And I'm sure there's going to always be another layer. They say new level, new devil, because there's always going to be that devil of the subconscious, and we're always going to have to be aware so we can put it in check and we can start asking, is that me that's choosing this? Or is this an old pattern that is trying to keep me safe, that really is not serving me in my highest good? Okay. So then she asks, if you chose to listen to your urges and follow your heart's desire, how would you be rewarded emotionally, physically, mentally, and spiritually 3, 6, 9, and 18 years from now? So feel into that. If you followed through with the urges of your heart's desire, in 3, 6, 9, 18 years from now, what would that create in your life? Feel into the energy of that. Is that a little bit more expansive than being in fight or flight mode? If you feel into feeling the belief patterns, programs, feel how constrictive that is. It doesn't feel expansive at all to be in fight or flight. It feels like your body gets really tight, doesn't it? I know for me it does. But feel how expansive, how freeing it is to feel into your heart's desires and what your life could be like if you didn't hold yourself back anymore, if you stopped getting out of your own way. If you feel that living an extraordinary life is worth it, then read on so that you can compile and implement the tools and techniques to transform your life. So then Jacqueline talks about peeling off the masks. If people would put out as much effort into living authentically as they put into erecting, preserving, and perfecting their masks, there wouldn't be a need for masquerade parties. So Jacqueline was a lot of fun. I hope that you had the opportunity to see her. She was the self-love diva. You can find lots of her videos on YouTube. My goodness, her YouTube channel is just filled with her enthusiasm, her love of life, her passion, and so much love. So much love. So she says, now that you've resisted the fight or flight response and committed yourself to your quest for an extraordinary life, the next step is to examine the masks that you have used in order to cope. These disguises will only impede you in your effort to become your authentic self. We all wear masks for one reason or another. Different people wear different masks under different circumstances. There are many reasons why we create the masks: to disguise the people we are, to project the people that we want to be, and to portray the people that we are expected to be. Masks are the fortresses that we erect to protect ourselves from outsiders. We adorn our masks depending on our circumstances. We can have different masks to express our cultural, societal, ideological, environmental, geopolitical, and geographical beliefs and behaviors. So, moving forward, peeling off our masks initially makes us feel exposed and vulnerable, not only within our own skins, but to the public as well. This is the point where you realize that you are no longer willing to live a lie. You must purge the bad and the ugly in order to realize your higher self. One that you are proud to call your authentic self. Peeling off our masks is a fundamental step toward authentic healing. What are you hiding from? Is it an aspect of yourself that you think is ugly or undesirable? Or do you wear a mask for self-survival? It is easier, safer, and more exciting to wear a mask than to be the real you? Or is it because you have worn the mask for so long that you have lost sight of the real you? As long as you are hiding behind the security blanket of your mask, you can't discover your purpose. Along with each mask you create a whole story to accompany the mask. The story is what you pretend to yourself and others to be because it is more glamorous or exciting. So, and then peeling off the mask is a scary thing. It exposes the real you, warts and all. Often a person will start peeling off a mask only to discover that there's an intricate underground network and layer of masks. Each layer is a remnant of some part of you that needs healing. You created each layer of your mask in order to protect and disguise a vulnerable part of you that you felt couldn't measure up to the stringent scrutiny of society or family or colleagues or fellow students, friends. Each layer needs to be exposed to the light for examination. Bring to light the parts of yourself that you are confused about or are uncomfortable with or afraid of or ashamed of. Identify them and then heal them. Only then can you heal your authentic self. How beautiful. I'm so excited for you to be on this journey. So that takes us to extraordinary size 3. Examine the dynamics of the relationships in which you feel that you can't be your true self. Make a list of those people with whom you feel a need to put on airs, disguise, suppress, or pretend that you are someone other than your authentic self. Next to each person, describe the mask you wear when you are with him or her. How do you behave and react differently? How are you thinking? How are your thinking, beliefs, and emotions influenced by their presence? So, are you committed to doing these extraordinary sizes with me? It will be life-changing. So here, Jacqueline's asking us to make a list of the people that you put on a mask for. What is the mask that you wear for them? How do you behave differently for each person in your life? How are your thinking, beliefs, and emotions influenced by other people's presence? Why do you allow others to influence how you feel about yourself? Why is the need to be accepted more important than your need to be true to yourself? This is so beautiful. Have you ever thought about that? Why is it so much more important to make somebody else comfortable than to be true to yourself? To have somebody else have it their way, have you their way. I know I've had partners that wanted me to dress a certain way. I've had partners that wanted me to show more cleavage. I've had partners that wanted me to cover up cleavage. I've had partners that wanted me to, wear long shorts and not show my thighs. And then I've had other partners that wanted me to, wear those tiny little short shorts. And what I found is I got to get raw, real, and naked with myself. And I've done a challenge for years now where I've taken people through a process for 30 days where you get naked in front of a mirror, and every day you keep raising the number of minutes that you're standing in front of that mirror looking at yourself naked. But what you're looking at is you're looking at the full view of yourself without any mask, without any clothes, and appreciating the body that's in front of you, the miracle of your body. Because every second, think of the thousands of processes from creating hormones and biochemical responses to keeping your heart pumping and your blood flowing and the air moving through your lungs. Every second you are alive is a miracle, no matter what your body looks like. And as you start to love and respect your body changes. Your eyes change. As you look through your eyes in the mirror, your eyes are the window to your soul. And they don't say that for just any old reason. It's because when you actually look through your eyes in the mirror and you pierce the veil, it's like there's a veil that is behind your eyes. that connects to your soul. And when you can keep looking at yourself, through the eyes of love in that mirror, and it may take several days, it may take several tries to get there. It may take several minutes, it may take hours, it could take seconds. But you will get there. Look in the mirror, look into your eyes, and witness yourself and begin to truly love yourself. Get naked of every belief that you've learned to believe about yourself. Unlearn it so that you can uncover your true you. What life experience has made you think that this disowned part of yourself is so ugly, to the extent that you feel it needs to be hidden or suppressed rather than accepted and healed? It could be when you were a small child. It could be, I know for me, I remember going to get pictures taken, and I remember my mom chastising me about paying for my pictures, and that she wouldn't have even bothered if she knew that I was just going to force a smile. I got very subconscious about my smile. You know, it's interesting because my mom didn't mean anything hurtful by that. She was very frugal. She had to be frugal. And I didn't understand that from my young age. So it created a belief inside of me that, you know, this was before the age of digital photography. I'm in my 50s. So this is a film camera, you know, you get one shot and you take what you get. And, you know, and I have lots of moments like that I can recall, that I've chosen to recall, so that I can reprogram my mind, so that it's not my default mode anymore. I've gotten to heal those pains. I've gotten to have a lot of compassion and love for my mom and my dad, and know that they did their very best. They didn't mean to hurt me. Heck, they thought they were doing what was right. In every step that they took, they did their best. Just like I did the best with raising my son. And unfortunately, I made some mistakes. And the real unfortunate thing is that generationally, these patterns of unworthiness, of scarcity, of abandonment, they perpetuate generation to generation. That's why it's so important for us to do this work, to do every extraordinary size, to bring you to your authentic self, so you can be truly you and know that people will adjust. Because you being true to you is the most important thing for our world, for you, and for your family, even though it feels difficult right now. And I know sometimes we feel that we have to do this to stay safe. We have to change who we are. We feel ugly sometimes because that's a pattern that was taught to us. Someone in your life that you respected maybe had critical ideas about themselves or about you, and you adopted those beliefs because you thought that their belief was much more powerful than your own. But you're the only one that knows the truth of you. How does using the crutch of your masks make you feel? And what is the payoff? Does using that crutch really make you feel safe and secure? Is it really protecting you? Or is it really holding you back from really, truly being aligned with your heart and finding your purpose and your passion and your love within? Don't just mentally or mechanically answer the questions. Give yourself permission to truly feel the emotions. So, feeling is healing. And I know a lot of times we were taught to suppress, to push those feelings down. And unfortunately, that's how a lot of us got into the space of being unhealed, being conforming, wearing these masks, is because we didn't feel it to heal it. Where in your life were you not allowed to feel your emotions? What experience did you have? It could have been as a child. It likely the first time was as a child. I remember being in JCPenney's, throwing a tantrum because I was in maybe first grade, kindergarten, first grade, so 4, 5, 6 years old, somewhere in there. And all the kids were getting new clothes for school. And I'd went to school with my hand-me-down clothes, and I was with my mom in JCPenney's, and I asked her, please, can I have a new pair of jeans? And she said no. And my little heart broke, feeling unworthy of getting a new pair of jeans because I always got the hand-me-downs. I had 5 older siblings and lots of cousins. And I always got hand-me-downs. To this day, I still thrift store shop because I like to get a good deal, is what I tell myself. And maybe there's more to that story that I'm still uncovering, because my abandonment wound was born there in JCPenney's with that tantrum. Because my mom drugged me out of that store, made me get in the car, started to drive away, and I couldn't stop crying. I couldn't stop crying. I just couldn't. She kept warning me, you better stop crying. And I couldn't do it. So she pulled over the car, and being that young child that I was, she made me get out of the car, and she drove off. She came back, thankfully, because I know I've met other people that have had similar stories, and who didn't have a parent that came back. And if that happened to you, I am so sorry, because you should have never had to go through something so traumatic. But what I thought for myself to grow the compassion for my mom and to heal this, because truly, I've done a lot of work around this, is it was the best that my mom could do in that moment. I know that she got physical with some of my siblings. And thankfully she was too tired by the time number 6 rolled around. I was the youngest. And thankfully she never laid a hand on me. Yeah. And she came back and got me, but I remembered that day. Just like there's memories that you have inside of you. There's memories that you get to heal. And I did that with compassion. My mom grew up having enough. She had successful parents who had a business that was successful. So she wore new clothes. Her mom loved to go shopping. But my mom didn't have the resources that her mom had. My mom had 6 kids. 6 kids. And those hand-me-down clothes were good enough. They were good enough. But it didn't make me feel worthy and left me feeling abandoned. So those have been patterns that I've worked to heal. But I've had to feel it to heal it. And I can tell you one of the resources that has been instrumental on a scale of 0 to 10, instrumental at a 10 plus is somatic release breathwork. And I am a somatic release breathwork practitioner. And in this journey, we will be doing free breathwork sessions to help you, to guide you in releasing some of these stuffed down feelings. So just take a moment and just ask yourself, what are the beliefs that I took on from my family? How did these different experiences mold me into who I am today? And what are the masks that I'm taking off? What are the masks that I'm still wearing? Where do I have to conform to be something for somebody that really isn't true with me? So that leaves us to extraordinary exercise number 4. Unfortunately, most people are too quick to abandon or compromise on their heart's desires. I wholeheartedly believe that you can have it all. You just have to be willing and committed. Are you? Are you willing? Are you committed? So this is a question that I've had to ask myself over and over. And as I say, am I willing? Am I committed? Yes. But if I look at my actions, sometimes those actions and level of commitment are not at a 10. They could be even more strong. My commitment level has grown and grown and grown and grown. My willingness level has grown and grown and grown. It's over time. So be gentle with yourself. If you feel like you're failing, you're not. You're growing. You're coming up against your edge of your resistance. And just know that, remember, you hit that resistance and you're going to come back and forth a few times. You're going to do battle between your subconscious, the devil, and your conscious, the angel, your choice. And as you butt up against that resistance, you'll eventually move forward. But don't feel like a failure, because every failure is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to move forward again. It's not the end of the story. It's just a part of the journey. Are you willing to go within and do the necessary work to excavate your authentic self? It truly is like, think of an archaeologist excavating the earth to sift back, just gently sifting back to uncover the remains of an ancient world. Because your DNA, it's not just you. We're unlocking the patterns of generations of pain, of beliefs, of patterns. And it's been ingrained so strong inside of you that it's a part of you. And so as we're untangling this, we're sending new messages. We're activating new parts of you. And it's exciting. And it's a journey that if you want to transform your life, you'll be really glad to do each one of these extraordinary sizes and go through each one of these chapters, because it's going to be a powerful force of change in your life. And it's going to bring you to the forefront to shine your light and be all that you get to be in this world. Are you willing to quit making excuses and lying to yourself to justify who you are? the masks that you wear, and the quality of your life. It's kind of easy to make excuses and justify ourselves. I know, because I've done it. I've done it for a very long time. I've been the victim of circumstance over and over again. But the truth is that I chose to put myself in situations where it wasn't safe. And I could easily make excuses and shift the blame and the fault for somebody doing wrong, for someone hurting me. And I've done that a lot in my life. And that has been a true journey of taking responsibility for my life and taking back my power. Because your power is not in excuses. It's not in blame. It's truly in that self-discovery of choice and being responsible for your life. Are you willing to bury the masks and live authentically? Is it time to bury the masks? Time to burn them. Let's set them up in flames. This is not. We don't want to dig them back up. We want them to be gone forever. We bury things that are dead. I think that's what she meant here, is that part of you is no longer existing, so that's why we bury it. It no longer ceases to live. It doesn't have life force energy anymore. It's gone. So are you ready to let them go? Are you willing to follow your heart's desire? Are you really ready to trust yourself and follow your heart? That's a powerful space to be in, because most people in the world will tell you you can't trust. But unfortunately, if you look at our world is hurting a lot. The one person you should be able to trust is yourself. And with these extraordinary sizes, you are going to learn that, and you are going to take your power back, and you're going to love yourself so deeply. And that is exciting. Are you really willing and committed? Answer carefully and honestly, because this is precisely what you are going to be doing if you choose to continue on this pilgrimage toward excavating and transforming yourself and your life. So ask yourself that right now. Are you truly willing? Are you truly committed to uncovering your extraordinary you? I'm so happy you're here. Extraordinary tidbit. In order for you to truly heal, you must be willing and committed to consciously and authentically complete every extraordinary size. It is too tempting to skip an exercise with a promise that you'll get back to it. The truth is that you probably won't. I know I didn't. I rarely went back to complete the exercises in other self-help books. Or if I did, as soon as they got challenging or hit a raw nerve, I skipped them or stopped completely out of the same fight or flight fear response I discussed earlier in this book. So as we continue forward with this chapter, with the rest of the chapters, as we go through each extraordinary size, do yourself a favor and just pause with each question and really dig into it. Take a couple minutes to answer each question, or at least a few seconds, because I know I can relate to what Jacqueline says here. I have put off the work. I have bought all kinds of programs. I have bought all kinds of books. I've even read all kinds of books that dove deep like this, where I didn't do the work. And so this is your opportunity to really change your life, to transform into your fullest potential. And that's why I'm so excited to be on this journey with you, because I have committed to doing my own work. In order for me to get to the discussion phase of this work of recording, I have committed to doing each one of these extraordinary sizes. So if you don't see the next chapter coming up, it's because I haven't done the work. I haven't done the extraordinary sizes. And so if you ever see that, I invite you to reach out to me and say, hey, Jacqueline, I see you stopped at chapter What's going on? Do those extraordinary sizes, because I'm waiting for you. Because we're in this together. We are truly doing this together. And I'm committed to doing every one of these extraordinary sizes with you. And this is Jacqueline from heaven, our angel beyond that's with us today. And she's saying, you have to do every one. And I believe her, because I've stopped short. I've not finished in the past. I've been a really poor finisher. That's one of my downfalls. And so that has been the past subconscious belief, which I've shown myself that I can complete challenges. I am a task finisher. I am showing up, and I'm showing up for you as much as I'm showing up for me. But I'm showing up for me as a priority because my well-being is a priority. I am precious, just like you are precious. You are important. You matter. You are loved. So we're going to do this together. Are you in it with me? Are you committed? Not only to reading this book, but to doing every extraordinary size. Okay. The exercises rocked my status quo, exposed my vulnerabilities. Now, some of us don't want to get vulnerable, but I'm here to tell you your strength is in your vulnerability. I know it's counterintuitive, and if you want to know more about that, I suggest watching some YouTube videos by Brene Brown because she is the expert in the field of vulnerability. And she tells us it is counterintuitive, but it is your strength. So get vulnerable. Be seen. See yourself. Witness yourself. Be the observer of your life, of your beliefs, and allow yourself to be exposed. And she says, it questioned everything and everyone in my life. The exercises terrified me because it meant questioning who I was. And if that wasn't who I was, then who was I? So that is such a beautiful question, because so often we are asking ourselves, who am I? And I remember my spiritual mentor, Rika Zimmerman. I was in her Life Transform coaching program for 3 years. And I remember the first outing that I had with her, the first event. We were down in Captiva Island, Florida. And she says to me, Jacqueline, I can't wait until you discover who your real you is. And that was a pivotal moment for me, because along the journey of my life, I had lost myself over and over and over again. And it truly is a journey of uncovering, of recovering your true self, of recovery. That's what recovery is. It's remembering who you really are. Okay, so then Jacqueline says we get to a crossroads. Approach the crossroads of life not with a heavy heart, but with the spirit of a great warrior, eager to set out on his vision quest. Are you ready to be a warrior for your life, for your inner self, for your inner child? He or she is still in there. He or she is waiting for you, is waiting for you to become everything that you get to be. And I'll tell you, on my last breathwork session, the facilitator said, "What is the message that your inner child has for you?" And my inner child said, "I believe in you." That was refreshing. That means I'm showing up as the loving adult that is able to nurture, love, protect, care for, show up for my inner child, to be curious, to be playful, to have fun in life. And I believe that's the fountain of youth. I know people often say to me, "Jacqueline, you don't look like you're in your 50s. How can you be a grandma?" And I believe that is because I maintain that being curious in the wonderment, playfulness of life, to have fun. And for me, that doesn't mean like the adulting things like drinking or, for a while, I've had been sober, celibate. There's times in my life where I've chosen different ways of really stripping away all the different ways that I found myself conforming. And this has been such a gift to get to my own crossroads. So the crossroads, you are at the crossroads of life. You have taken off your masks and you are feeling exposed and vulnerable. Fortunately, with awareness comes the opportunity to heal. But now what? Where do you go from here? You are at a crossroads and you now have 3 choices. Number 1, you can put the old comfortable mask back on and continue to live under false pretenses. This explains how people stay in miserable marriages or relationships, some in which one spouse is having an affair and the other spouse consciously or unconsciously denies that it's happening. They continue to live a lie rather than exposing the truth because they believe that the consequences would be too painful. So they pretend ignorance or refuse to acknowledge the affair, and they suffer in silence. The mind is a wonderful thing. You can compartmentalize and command it to have selective focus. Have you ever chosen path number 1? I have. And likely you have too. And that choice doesn't have to continue. We don't have to ignorantly pretend. We don't have to spiritually bypass. There's a much better choice. Okay. Choice number 2. You can get fitted for a new mask with a superficial tune-up in which you think that you are as good as new. The new mask will come with a new set of faulty beliefs based on new goals that you think will bring you the happiness that has eluded you so far. Some examples are a change of residence, a new job, getting married, or having children. Things to make life better, perhaps? This is equivalent to slapping a bandage on a patient who needs open heart surgery. So, have you ever thought that getting a new home or a new apartment or a new car or a new pair of clothes or something was going to make you feel better about yourself? Sometimes there's a lift in superficial confidence that happens when we do these things. But when you're coming home to your heart, It's like being okay with everything on the outside, because that's just part of the environment. That's the extension of you. It's the external. It's what's in here where the shifts are coming from. So by putting on that mask, it's another form of a spiritual bypass. You can do it, but it's not going to give you lasting effects. You might feel really great for a day or a week or a month, but it'll start to wear off. Choice number 3. So have you ever done choice number 2? I know I have. But choice number 3. You can rise to your highest potential and take the first step towards your authentic path. You will discover that with each step, you will gain a newfound sense of courage and empowerment. With each step, you will create the momentum and commitment to rise above your limiting beliefs and fears and move toward creating a higher and brighter level of consciousness that is in harmony with your authentic self. Theoretically, you have 3 choices, but in essence, there's only one. You must rise to your highest potential and uncover your authentic self. You may be able to postpone, ignore, deny, or suppress the real you, but at what emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual cost? It is a 24/7 back-breaking, heartbreaking, emotionally draining task to live life as a slave to your counterfeit self. So, it really is a counterfeit. It's like there's an extension of you, of an identity, of everything that you've been taught to believe about yourself. And you thought all of those beliefs of other people, of society, made you who you are. But truly, that's not really who you are, because you've just been putting covering over the top of your heart, and it just starts to weigh on you with every layer that gets, it's just heavier and heavier. It's like you put on this armor that's trying to protect you, but the only thing it's doing is weighing you down until you can barely walk. You can't run away from or ignore the authentic you. It'll come back to haunt you in the form of sleepless nights, self-esteem issues, frustration, fear, anxiety, anger, and disease. Disease is really a dis-ease that your body, mind, and spirit are experiencing. It may seem like you have choices, but in reality, there's no real choice. You need to live a life of authenticity. Okay. So, to do this, you need determination and courage, but most of all, you need faith in something more powerful than yourself. You also need a burning desire to change, a desire to rekindle your passion for living. You do have the free will to postpone learning your life lessons, but at what cost to your health, your future, and your happiness? It is your crossroads. Take the road less traveled. It is the road that starts out with peaks and valleys, with bumps and blind curves, but it is also the road that will build you the strongest muscles and the most powerful resilience and determination, fortitude, and courage. It is also the most rewarding. It will take you on the most majestic adventures, bring you to the greatest heights of emotion, and show you the most abundant splendors. It is the most divine spiritual journey. It is the road that will make you feel the most alive, vibrant, and joyful. So, extraordinary size number 5. And this is the last one before we end our discussion of chapter 1. If you choose path number 1 or 2, you still haven't created enough leverage to strengthen your resolve to transform your life. I would like you to sit or lie down in a comfortable place where you won't be disturbed, and close your eyes and ask yourself the following questions. What will it cost me to do nothing or to take the path of least resistance? not just in financial terms, but also emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually? How will it affect the quality of my life and that of my loved ones? So don't just imagine the loved ones right now. Imagine the generations that were born from you and the generations that come after. How will it affect the quality of their life? What will it cost me in 3, 9, 18, and 27 years from now? What will it ultimately cost me when I'm nearing the end of my life? Again, don't just list the answers. Feel the intensity of your emotions to increase your sense of urgency. This exercise will help you to develop the awareness and leverage to begin your own personal life journey toward rebirth and an extraordinary life. Okay, so with that, it's a powerful chapter. I know it's a lot to take in just one chapter. I mean, this could have been a whole book, truly. But it's about you transforming your life, and this book will change your life. It will help you to have your extraordinary you, that you know that you were born to be. And it's such an honor to be on this journey with you. I know Jacqueline is with us here tonight. I know she prompted me when we relaunched Extraordinary You back in 2013. We had talked about having a book club. And I said how many people this was going to help. And so, my mission and vision for my life is to help 1 million people to come home to their heart. And if you join me on this journey, I know you will be one on that journey. And if I can make a difference for one person on this journey to help you transform your life, it will have been worth it for me. So I do hope that you continue on this journey. And as Jacqueline's mission and vision, Jacqueline Ortiz's mission and vision, as we were discussing our mission and vision, we had so much fun. I tell you, we had so much fun. She was my soul sister. Our paths were parallel paths in so many ways, unbelievable ways. And as we shared, I lived with her for 6 months in 2023. And I regret not being there in October and November because I was on my own journey of recovering my extraordinary me. And those 6 months together were amazing. I saw a side of Jacqueline that few people got to see. We went on hikes together, and her favorite place to hike was, she called it her magical manifestation mountain, magical manifesting mountain. And another one of my favorite memories of Jacqueline was on one of our hikes. And all of a sudden we're hiking up the hill, and I grab her shoulder and I pull her back. And there's a rattlesnake on the path, and it's an eclipse. It's the spring eclipse of 2023. Powerful energy. And I pull her back, and she starts chastising me because I don't have my camera out. I'm not recording it. She's like, I can't believe you're not getting this. You're recording everything else. You're taking pictures of this and pictures of that, but why are you not recording this? And all I could think of was, like being in the moment, and that the rattlesnake was a sign of transformation. And I started saying, it's our sign, it's our sign. They're, you know, God's with us and God's letting us know that, you know, this is a transformation for both of us to really rise into who we were meant to be in this world and the people that we're meant to help. And on that same hike, we saw another snake. And anyway, that magical manifestation mountain. I actually did record a video of the latter part of that moment, and it was hilarious. And it's like one of my most precious moments of her, because she's so animated and so funny and just so full of life. And that's how I want to remember her. And Jacqueline, she loved that mountain. She loved that mountain. I know how much she loved that mountain. And she took a tumble on that mountain. And she got a couple scrapes. And she thought she got it cleaned up. And unfortunately, she had gotten a staph infection, which turned to sepsis in her body. And her body couldn't fight the infection. And so this is also a public service announcement. If you ever don't feel right after getting a scrape, don't feel like a lone wolf and hold back from getting medical attention. Let yourself ask for help. Reach out to somebody. Let them know what's going on, because we didn't know. We didn't know she was struggling. And she thought she was going to be okay. She thought that she just didn't feel good. So don't be a lone wolf. And I'm saying this to me as much as I'm saying it to you, as much as I'm feeling it from her heart. That's my soul sister, because I know she's with me right now. We're not meant to be lone wolves. We are meant to belong, to connect, to be a part of a pack, to build each other up, not tear each other down, to not isolate, but to unite. So, extraordinary you, Jacqueline Ortiz was an extraordinary human being. She was fun, funny, beautiful, filled with life. So I'm honoring her through this book club, through the reading of Extraordinary You, and I was going to hold it together, and I wasn't going to do that. So if you're still with me, what I want to do is this is just coming to me right now. I want to say a prayer. And that prayer is, may you know your highest, most fulfilled life and presence and identity of your soul and your soul's purpose and mission in this world. May you connect with your talents, your abilities, your gifts. May you live fulfilled in your interests, and may you let your light shine so beautifully that you can live authentically, unapologetically, being unstoppable, loving your life, because we were meant to live in joy. We were meant to live in connection. I'm Jacqueline with Vibrational Energy Solutions. And I wish you the most blessed day and the most blessed life. And I hope that you're with me for the remainder of this journey, where we will go through each one of these chapters one by one, doing all of the extraordinary sizes because we're willing and we're committed. And you will be blessed. You will be blessed by the words on each of these pages. And Jacqueline's mission and vision was to help 8 million people to do a loving act for themselves, a self-loving act, and then a loving act to another. We can do this right now. My loving act is, for me, is to read this book and to do the extraordinary sizes for me, because I am precious and I'm lovable and I matter. And I'm reading it for you and doing this discussion group because you are precious, you are lovable, and you matter. My loving act to me and a loving act for you. That is Jacqueline's mission and vision. So you could do the same. You could join me for each one of these discussions, readings, and allow this to be the loving act for yourself and the loving act that you get to do for somebody else, following Jacqueline Ortiz's mission and vision of impacting 8 million lives to do a self-loving act and then share a loving act with another. And that can look in a million, billion different ways. So allow your heart to feel into that and just feel into how you can create a wave of love that continues to move forward in the world. And if you missed out on the reading of our Extraordinary You Chapter 1, go ahead, find the video on that, or continue forward and go through the extraordinary sizes we went through in this discussion. And I look forward to this journey with you, of you becoming extraordinary you and knowing the blessing that this movement will create in our world. So wishing you a most blessed and beautiful day. Bye for now. Thank you again for joining me.